Hello, dear students. This is an explanation of the third stanza of your poem Sea Fever, where the poet once again started with his refrain, I must go down to the sea again, to the vagrant gypsy life. The word gypsy here means wandering without any purpose. So the poet here once again broadened the theme with the main theme here, the wanderlust, to the forefront, brings the theme of wanderlust in the first line. He wants to go to the sea again, to enjoy a life of freedom, or a life of a gypsy who wanders without any purpose. So and also he wants to go like the other animals, like to the girl's way. Girls here means the seagull way and the whale's way. So he wants to wander like a gypsy who, and also he wants to wander like the seagull who flew endlessly with endless freedom, and also the whale, which is the largest mammal on ocean, which goes deep in the ocean and go to the journey thousands of kilometers, thousands of in the ocean. So he wants to enjoy a gypsy life, just as the seagull do in their way, and just as the whale do in their way. Here also the poet described the wind in a contrasting way, where the wind is like a whetted knife. So in the first two stanzas, the wind is described as a very wonderful description of nature, but here in contrast the wind is described as a whetted knife, a sharpened knife, which is a very violent one. So the poet wants to understand us, or make us understand, that life at sea is a very contrasting one. So here it is there are cruel wind also, there are wild waves also. Okay, so it remains perfect, with perfect harmony, with sweet endless freedom. So with the endless freedom of seagull, whales and gypsy life, here there is a contrasting condition of violent wind also. Okay, so not always there is a favorable condition. There are also cruel winds which will hinder their journey. Okay, so in the next line, all I ask is a merry yarn from a laughing fellow rover, and quiet sleep and sweet dream when the long trick's over. So once again the poet used the refrain, all I ask is the simplest thing, that a merry yarn. Merry means happy, and yarn means a, a tale. A tale means here uh, a story. Okay, so the picture here, the poet wants to say that in the life of journey is very cruel. The life at sea is very cruel. There are favorable winds also, there are cruel winds also, but all he asks is a happy j- happy tale, and also a laughing fellow rover means here accompanying sailor. So here the poet wants to spend their time with happy tales, with fellow men at the deck, listening to happy stories, and want to have a quiet sleep and a sweet dream. So after when the long trek is over, trek here means the journey, the long journey of hours of journeys at sea. So after a long journey, after gaining knowledge at sea, after fulfilling the dream, the poet wants a quiet sleep. Here quiet sleep is doesn't mean to sleep very quietly. It also means a death, a condition of peaceful death, where it will allow the poet to have a sweet dream. Okay, so when this long journey of at sea will over, he will have a quiet sleep, maybe a peaceful death, after gaining so much knowledge at sea and fulfilling the dream, and may have sweet dreams after this long journey. Okay, so the word meaning are here in the textbook. You can see and read it. Here I will give you the explanation of this um, last stanza. Here is the third stanza, that brings the theme of wanderlust at the forefront, performance in the front area. So Masefield speaks here about the vagrant gypsy life, and he expresses his desire for a laughing fellow river. Laughing fellow river means is a happy sailor who will be accompanied by the poet. But in the stanza, poet does not picturize the ideal picture of life at sea, but in contrast, the sea wind is described as whetted knife, is a very sudden image of violent object. And we can sum up that life at sea is full of contrast. There is a cruel wind, there is a wild waves, and there is also sweet dreams and endless freedom. So in the last line of the poem, the theme of wanderlust changes drastically, and here the poet describes a different nature of sea. Here the poet uses that word trick. Trick here means a journey, but journey by watching hours at sea. Here it is referred to as quiet sleep, may refer to a peaceful death, and that will allow the poet to have a sweet dream after this long journey. Okay, thank you. Hope you understand this poem, and if anything you are um, doubt about, you have doubt about, you can ask me in my WhatsApp number.